Hi planner friends, I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another Plan With Me video. I hope your week started off well. Mine certainly did. In fact, I very much looked forward to this week because on Friday is Emily's last day of school, and also on the same day my hubby and my little one Sophia are coming home from their trip. In this video, I want to talk about my mental health and what influence journaling has on it. Before I start with this topic, I'll go over the technical part of this plan with me, that is, the supplies that I'm using for this week's setup. I decided to combine my two favorite items, floral stickers and the Coffee Monsterz Co emoji stickers. The floral stickers I'm using in this plan with me are from Graceful Muse Papery. The journaling kit I showed at the beginning of this video is not being sold anymore, but I'll link the shop in the description box below because you can find really stunning kits there. I'll also link every other product I'm using in this setup, and by the end of this video, if you like it, give it a thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't, though I hope that's not the case. On top of it, if you subscribe, it would mean the world to me and I will be forever grateful because this channel is growing thanks to all of you lovely people. Now let's talk about journaling. I started journaling when I was 10 years old. The idea of describing my day appealed to me greatly because it gave me an excuse to use all the pretty notebooks my mom would buy for me. The quality of journaling of a 10-year-old wasn't anything world-changing, but it made me really happy and I felt like I had the best friend with me all the time. Later on, in my teenage years, I started keeping a diary. I wasn't filling it out regularly in the beginning, but as the time went by, I would draw in it and write more and more. What I wrote about then were the books that I've read and what I liked about them, and lyrics of my favorite songs, the boy I liked, of course, and I would gush about it page after page like most teenagers did back then. But I also started writing about the things I liked and disliked on a deeper level than I did when I was younger. And already back then, I realized that journaling helped me let my emotions out as opposed to keeping them inside. As a child, I was never shy and I talked 24/7, but as a teenager, I became very introverted and silent. Let's just say that I changed back then due to the relationship I had with my parents, and that caused things that started happening later when I was much older. But we'll get to that later on. I journaled for a couple of years, filled out many notebooks, and nurtured my creative side by drawing and doodling whatever came to mind. And then one day I just stopped and burned my diary. I did so because my mom read it and I could never touch it again. Now, when I'm 38 years old and when I look back at that dramatic action of burning my journal, I laughed at myself for being so dramatic, but that's just who I was, and to a certain extent I still am. I always had a flair for a bit of drama. I guess that's just a part of my character because I'm a person of very strong emotions. As many of you know, I have two daughters and I'm slowly drawing my eldest one into journaling because of so many benefits that writing provides. From the moment my mom read my diary till I was much older, I never wrote a single line anymore. Years passed, and all those things that frustrated me, those same things I used to put on paper, I buried inside of me. I had friends, but I never talked to them about my issues. I was brought up in a way that one does not talk about their issues to anyone outside of the house. And since I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone in my family, I withdrew. I buried myself in my studies, in reading books and manga comics, and I convinced myself that I was happy and content with my life. Now, don't get me wrong, I was happy with my life to a certain extent. I was an excellent student who achieved high grades in all the exams I had at the university, but deep down inside, I knew I wasn't fully happy. When I graduated and finished master studies, I met my husband. We met online on a website where people who love Bleach manga and anime gathered, created their own characters in the Bleach world, and we wrote stories about it. Basically, we were role-playing in written form. In the character I created, I started pouring all the emotions I've been hiding for years. The feeling I was getting from role-playing was the same one I had when I used to keep a journal, so I basically started journaling again, but about a fictional character, not myself. Not even a year later, we got married and I moved to his country. again, I stopped writing because of all the changes that consumed me, and a couple of years passed till I picked up a notebook again. Only this time, I started writing about myself again. I started pouring all my emotions onto paper, and thanks to the bullet journal community, I began gratitude logging and writing about the things that made me happy and proud. While still living in Belgium due to stress at work and almost getting a burnout, I experienced an anxiety attack for the first time in my life. I felt like I was having a heart attack. I couldn't breathe. I was having hot and cold flashes, and for days I felt this type of pressure, very weird pressure in my chest. 2 years ago, we went through a big change again, only this time my family and I moved back to my country, and I finally felt like I could breathe with my full lungs. I was relaxed, happy, and very much content with my life, and even though the rocky relationship I had with my parents still wasn't fixed, I felt like I was finally under control of my own life. And then I got the second anxiety attack 3 or 4 days before my younger daughter's eye surgery. I pushed all the symptoms I had away because Sophia needed me, but I also knew that I had to do something about it. After she recovered, I decided to dedicate my time to helping myself, and so I sought professional help. I'm not going to get into reasons why I had those anxiety attacks and what the underlying causes are, but I will share with you what I learned. I know it's nothing groundbreaking, but talking about mental health is, in my opinion, very important, and I'm quite sure that there are still many places in the world where this topic is a taboo. My country is certainly one of them. It seems that all these years that I've been journaling, I was partially trying to help myself. When a person has issues, the worst thing they can do is keep them inside. You have to deal with those issues, you have to deal with those emotions. Otherwise, they will consume you whole and cause even worse mental problems. And according to the therapist I was seeing, journaling is a great way to nurture your mental health. By keeping a gratitude log, for example, or writing about things that made us happy every single day, we think about pleasant things and that lifts one's spirits. It's good to write about good things, but it's also important to write about the bad ones because you cannot always, in any given moment, say to someone everything you think or feel. It's simply not socially acceptable. So instead of keeping all of that inside yourself, it's much better to write everything down because, as my therapist said, paper can stand what another human being cannot. That doesn't mean that once you wrote those things down that they are solved. They are not. You still need to address those issues and solve them by communicating them loud and clear. But if you write them down first, you will let go of a big chunk of stress and you will steady yourself. Your thoughts will become clearer, and by them becoming clearer, you'll be able to look at your issues from a different perspective. It's been 6 months since my therapy stopped. I have talked about my issues. I wrote them down. I wrote about all the ways I could deal with them, all the scenarios, and all the possible outcomes. I still had moments when I would feel that pressure in my chest every time I would get annoyed, but this time I would both talk about my issues and write about them. And I'm also very often holding my tongue instead of flaming immediately like I used to. I used to have a very short fuse, or as I like to call it, a quick reaction to bullshit. So instead of flying off the handle like I used to, I now take a deep breath, I go home to relax, and then I journal so that I can get the anger and the irrational part of me out of my system. And once that's out, I can look and analyze things clearly. Recently, it dawned on me that I haven't had that pressure in my chest for a month now, and I realized that I'm slowly succeeding in teaching myself to let it go. Pun very much intended here. So, dear planner friends, when you write, write about everything. Pour your soul into your journal and write until you feel that the pressure is out. And once that pressure and negativity are gone, analyze the situations that made you feel bad, and then you'll know how to handle them next time or what to say to the person next time when you see them. I'm not saying that this can magically solve all your problems, but it can help. I hope I wasn't boring or that I didn't sound melodramatic. Neither of the two were my intention. But I wanted to talk about this so that you know that my reason for journaling isn't because it's popular or because it will get me likes on social media when I post nice pictures. Every page I fill out in my journal shows who I am and it shows off my emotions. Anyway, this is it for this week. If there are things you'd like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments below. I want to thank you once again for showing your support by watching my videos. That's something I'm really grateful every single day. Take care and have a great week. Bye.